I'm sleeping with Daddy.
I was bewildered by the words of my 5-year-old granddaughter. That was because we were at a graveyard. She had collapsed in a tattered state in front of the grave of my son, who had lost his life in an accident. Moreover, it seemed as if she had been staying there for several days. "Where's Mommy?" She looked at me with a confused expression.
She's with my little brother and my new daddy.
Eventually, she began to tell me what had happened, tears streaming down her face. Seeing her like this made me feel a tightening in my chest. How could they leave such a young child alone like this? Additionally, the horrifying truth came to light, and I rose up for revenge. Maggie, that's me, had struggled with infertility well into my early 30s. Then, 32 years ago, at the age of 36, I finally conceived and gave birth to my long-awaited child, whom I named Danny. I cherished my only son and raised him with all my love and care. When Danny turned 32, he came to me with some news.
I'm getting married.
I'm glad. Your father in heaven would be delighted too.
I'll come visit to introduce her soon.
And when my son arrived, he brought with him Sharon, a quiet 28-year-old woman. Please take care of Danny.
Yes, and I appreciate your kindness.
I found her to be a genuinely sincere person. Sharon and I would get along without any trouble between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. I thought so, but after Danny and Sharon got married, a year later, they had their first child, Anna, and then 2 years after that, their son Hugo was born. However, I hardly got to see Hugo at all. When Anna was born, I used to visit my son's house frequently, but after the birth of their second child, I was forbidden from going there.
I'm sorry, Mom. Sharon says she gets stressed when you come over.
Danny's words hit me like a punch to the gut. I hadn't realized that my frequent visits to my son's family were unknowingly causing stress for my daughter-in-law. Filled with remorse, I stopped visiting their house. There was one occasion when my son came alone to our house, but after that, we drifted apart from each other. One day, out of the blue, I got a call from my daughter-in-law, Sharon.
Maggie. Danny fell into the sea.
She choked back tears as she revealed something shocking to me. What? What do you mean? That's not possible.
Well, actually.
To summarize what my daughter-in-law told me, my son went out alone for a fishing trip, which was his hobby, and accidentally fell into the sea and lost his life. There were no eyewitnesses, but his fishing gear was found at the scene, indicating that there was likely no one around to rescue him. Additionally, it was discovered that there was a hole under the arm of the life jacket my son was wearing, which he might not have noticed.
From the fishing spot, the thermos I gave him was missing. I thought it might be cold near the sea, so I gave it to him.
Perhaps he dropped it into the sea, and while trying to retrieve it, he accidentally fell in? As I said my thoughts, my daughter-in-law, still crying, murmured,
That's possible.
According to Sharon, the police, upon hearing her account, treated it as a tragic accident. I hurried to my son's family's house, but my daughter-in-law seemed too shocked to do anything. So, I took charge of all the arrangements and ended up being the chief mourner. What will happen to Sharon, Anna, and Hugo from now on? Even though I lived separately, I was deeply shocked by the news. I couldn't imagine the immense pain my daughter-in-law and grandchildren, who lived with him, must be feeling. For their sake, I managed to prepare for the funeral and somehow get through it. However, 1 month after my son's death, things took a dramatic turn. When I visited the grave for the 1-month anniversary of his death, I witnessed something unbelievable. Huh? Someone's collapsed in front of Danny's grave. It was a small child, around 5 years old, wearing tattered clothes with mud stains, and there were holes here and there. Hey, are you okay? When I helped the child up, I realized it was someone I knew well. Huh? Anna?
Oh, Grandma.
My granddaughter Anna, with her eyes half open, was covered in mud from head to toe, to the point where she was almost unrecognizable. Tear streaks marked her cheeks. Why did you collapse here like this? As I wiped her face with a wet handkerchief, Anna shook her head.
I didn't collapse. I was sleeping with Daddy.
As soon as she said those words, tears welled up in her eyes again. What on earth was my daughter-in-law Sharon doing, leaving Anna at Danny's grave? Where's Mommy?
With my brother Hugo, at our new daddy's place.
What? I was completely taken aback. This news about a new dad was completely unexpected, and I hadn't heard a word about it from my daughter-in-law. Despite feeling bewildered by this sudden revelation, my priority was Anna. I brought her back to my home and decided to feed her. You must be hungry after being out there. Eat as much as you want. However, my granddaughter just stared silently at the steaming bowl of soup in front of her.
I hope Hugo isn't hungry.
With those few words, spoken softly, my heart filled with sadness. I'm sure he'll be okay. Anna, you need to eat and get strong so you can see Hugo.
Okay.
With those words, my granddaughter, awkwardly laughing, picked up his spoon and began to eat. And once Anna got full and calmed down, I decided to hear the full story. Listening to her story, I trembled with anger as I learned the truth my daughter-in-law had hidden. I will never forgive this. I will avenge Danny and Anna. Fuming with rage, I vowed revenge and stood up. First things first, I needed to find out where my daughter-in-law was. I went to the house where my son and his wife used to live, but it had already been sold and was empty. However, I was able to find a new lead from there. There's no mail in the mailbox. That means they submitted a change of address, right? To receive mail and other deliveries, it was necessary to submit a change of address notification and transfer the resident registry. So, my next step was to visit the municipal office to inquire about the resident registry. As a result, I got her new address and Sharon's current situation. Since her last name hasn't changed, it means she's just cohabiting with the other man. I secretly headed to my daughter-in-law's new address and visited people living nearby to ask about them. According to the neighbors, my daughter-in-law and her new partner didn't have a very good relationship with the neighborhood. Furthermore, it turned out that a nosy neighbor had been investigating and had found out the true identity of the new partner. Combining this with what Anna had told me, I came to a certain conclusion. That Danny crossed over to the other side wasn't because of an accident. However, finding evidence was difficult since the incident happened at sea, where fingerprints and other evidence would have been washed away. My son's body had already been cremated, so there was no way to examine it. At this point, I have no choice but to take a gamble. I devised a plan to uncover the truth about the incident. The next day, after making all the necessary preparations, I headed to Sharon's new address.
Hello. What? Maggie?
My daughter-in-law, who answered the doorbell, seemed completely off guard and looked startled the moment she saw my face. Ignoring her reaction, I said firmly, "I'm coming in." I quickly entered the house.
Hey, who the hell is this old hag?
"So, you're the new dad Anna mentioned. Nice to meet you." I found my daughter-in-law, the man, and my grandson Hugo there. After making sure that Hugo was sleeping peacefully, I turned my attention to my daughter-in-law. "Sharon, if you had found a new partner besides Danny, you should have told us."
Huh? Oh, well, haha.
She pulled her face with a forced smile. The man, who seemed to realize I was Danny's mother from my words, remained sprawled on the sofa. "So? Did you have this new boyfriend while you were still married to Danny, or did you start seeing him after Danny passed away? Things will change depending on that."
Well, obviously after Danny passed away, isn't it? Jack here has been comforting me since I was lonely.
"Are you sure? There's no going back on this."
What are you trying to say? Now that Danny's gone, I don't think it matters where I am or what I'm doing.
She retorted, her voice becoming strained as she seemed to grow uncomfortable with my suspicion. Well, if Danny's death was truly an accident. I could hear Sharon swallowing hard. Here we go. This is the moment of truth. To corner my daughter-in-law and her partner, I decided to lay out everything I had found about the new daddy. "That man there works at a strip club, doesn't he? It's been confirmed that you frequented that club."
What's your point? Even I need a change of pace sometimes. With 2 kids to take care of and all the stress, what's wrong with that?
"But you ended up having a relationship with him while accompanying that stripper, Jack, there." She avoided my gaze, sweating trickling down her forehead. "I met Anna. She was sleeping in front of Danny's grave while crying," I said, trying to maintain as much composure as possible while looking at her. "I found it strange. Why did you take Hugo with you, but left Anna behind?" Sharon couldn't bear my gaze and squeezed her eyes tight shut. Surely, she had realized that I had uncovered the truth. Anna is Danny's child, but Hugo is Jack's child, right? That's why only Anna, who shares Danny's blood, was left behind at the grave.
And where's the evidence for that?
Jack suddenly interjected, his voice rising in anger as he challenged me. Perhaps he thought Sharon was incapable of handling the situation on her own. We could easily find out with a parentage test.
Shit.
Jack's response was choked as I said that. Anna told me that Sharon often brought a stripper home while Danny was away. Furthermore, I revealed the information I had got from my granddaughter. Apparently, Sharon even introduced this man to Hugo as his new daddy. Moreover, that stripper there was the one who punctured Danny's life jacket.
Cut it out.
Jack rose from the sofa kicking the table, and yelled at me.
Do you think the police will act just based on a kid's words?
Yeah, that's right. Just the words of that kid won't be enough evidence.
Sharon retorted, emboldened by the host's words, and pushed back assertively.
If you're so desperate to turn Danny's accident into a case, then show some other evidence.
I fell silent, bowing my head and avoiding eye contact. Perhaps seeing that I couldn't retort.
See. This old hag is making baseless accusations without any evidence.
Jack sneered triumphantly.
What should we do? If you keep treating us like criminals, we could complain about you to the police.
Danny's insurance money won't fall into your laps. As I said it quietly, the stripper and Sharon exchanged surprised looks. Actually, My son visited our home alone while he was still alive. At that time, he said to me,
I want you to keep this.
And handed me a key to a safe deposit box. In the chaos of his passing and the subsequent funeral, I completely forgot about it. However, after hearing Anna's story, I began to wonder. So, for the first time, I opened that safe deposit box. There were documents for a life insurance policy and a letter in the box. In the letter, it said,
I've changed the beneficiary to you, Mom. Lately, Sharon's been spending money recklessly, and I can't leave anything for the kids. If anything happens to me, I want you to use it for them.
It seems Danny didn't know about your lavish spending at the strip club until the very end.
What?
My daughter-in-law was speechless, standing frozen. But the stripper, noticing her reaction, suddenly changed his demeanor.
Hey, this isn't what we agreed on. I helped you out because you promised to share the insurance money with me.
Hold on, there must be some mistake.
How do you plan to pay off the debt that has been piling up?
As Sharon and the stripper, Jack, got into a lover's spat, I took the opportunity for a turnaround. Finally, you showed your true colors. What I held up was a voice recorder that I had hidden in my pocket. As soon as they saw it, they turned pale. All your confessions are recorded in this. If I submit this to the police, it's game over for you.
No way. Sharon, don't let that old hag leave this house.
Sharon, still pale-faced, stepped forward and blocked my path towards the front door.
Now, hand over that recorder, or I'll bury you in the mountains.
Just as Sharon and Jack moved to silence me, the front door burst open with force, and police officers stormed in. You thought I'd recklessly come here without any precautions? I had already called the police beforehand.
Damn it.
The stripper and Sharon gritted their teeth in frustration as they were restrained by the police and escorted into the police car and taken away. Afterward, the two were arrested. The stripper Jack confessed to pushing my son into the sea. The police promised to launch a reinvestigation into Danny's case. Additionally, Sharon was also charged with neglecting her duty of care to Anna. With this, I believe my son in heaven can rest assured. I've decided to take in Anna and Hugo, and we're starting a new life together as a family. They're still young and lively at the ages of 5 and 3. Although I'm busy, I'm enjoying fulfilling days now.